Don't leave me hanging on. Well, it's my era too.
That's all right.
Yeah,
Anyway,
yeah.
we are live.
Oh, hello. Oh, was nearly about to give our ages away there, weren't I?
Yeah. Welcome to our evening of musical mediumship.
Yeah, oh God. Welcome to the night of flu.
Yes.
Flu has hit, yes.
Yeah, good evening, everybody, and a very big welcome to you all for our Lyceum night this week on a Friday night. It's a change from our Saturday nights because our wonderful guest tonight is so in demand. We had to fit the schedule in. An absolute pleasure to.
All right. Thanks, Larry.
Susan, you've got Susan Hughes on screen, but you have Susan.
My name is Susan Brothwood. My married name is Susan Hughes.
Right.
So Susan Brothwood-Hughes, and I love it because when I used to go to Britain, which I still do, and people would trip over the name Brothwood and they call me Susan Brotherhood-Hughes, and I used to correct them, and I went, no, I'll take that. Thanks very much, Susan Brotherhood-Hughes. I just thought that's fine. Yeah, so Susan, I was actually going to put Susan the Dragon Slayer, but I thought you'd be upset.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. And honestly, you know, I'm going to be very honest. My initial advertising was Susan Brothwood-Hughes.
That's fine.
And I thought, I'm sure that's wrong. And I double checked and found out, yes, I was wrong. Anyway, yes. So you are speaking to us tonight from lovely Dublin, are you not?
Indeed. And Dublin is lovely and the weather's lovely today. Not that I've slept pretty much solidly for the last over 48 hours trying to wash this flu out of me.
I'm going for exactly the same here as well, my darling. So anybody
high five. We don't want to high five a flu, though, do we? High five.
Anybody watching, if we just sort of like drift off, you know, feel free to change channels.
The brain has to click in.
Yes, definitely. No difficult questions tonight, folks. Thank you.
Oh, you can ask as many difficult questions as whether you'll get the answer. What is it? Vi Kipling used to say to me. Vi was one of my first mentors. She's from up Darlington way.
Right.
She said, oh God, see, my brain just stopped working as I started remembering.
Yeah.
No, there's no stupid questions, only stupid answers. So
yeah. My favorite saying is there's no oh God. It's going to be a long night, folks.
It is.
No question is stupid if you don't know the answer.
Yeah, exactly. You know, why wouldn't you know? And I say that to people, look, just because you think, because I remember, just because you think everybody else knows it, doesn't mean they do. You know, people seem quite confident in their knowledge, but they don't actually know what you think they know.
Yeah.
If you get my drift.
Yeah,
this is going to be a great conversation.
If you can deliver it confidently, you can get away with anything, can't you?
Well, you see, that's it. Not with me, however, but yeah.
Yeah, nor me. We're wonderful. Anyway, moving on.
Of course.
So, Susan, could you tell me, please, over the years where we've linked up all around the globe, which has been absolutely wonderful, one of the big revelations was that in Europe, for instance, there are very little, if any, spiritualist churches, something else in England hadn't quite understood and grasped.
Yeah, it's quite a British organisation.
Yeah.
I suppose in Ireland there is only one church, and that is in Belfast, which is Northern Ireland. And some would argue not in Ireland, but it's all of Ireland, so Northern Ireland. So in Southern Ireland, there are no churches per se. There's one that may have been affiliated, but I don't know if it still is. But people open up centres of healing and things like that. So, you know, are there SNU churches? No. Are there spaces of spirituality? Yes.
Yeah. because that's a very Celtic thing as well, isn't it? If you go through Ireland, through Scotland, and then over into Scandinavia, to Sweden, through Denmark, you've got this Celtic knot there, and spirituality is actually much more ingrained and part of the culture than it is probably further south on that. And I find that fascinating and wonderful as well.
And it would go down as far as Brittany and Normandy, that Celtic thing. Yeah. Brittany particularly,
Yeah. And that is, what is it? The Yggdrasil, the tree of life, which apparently.
Say that word again. Get you.
Yggdrasil. That's it. That's my Danish done. Anybody from Denmark on tonight, you'll be so impressed. But that is it.
All right, good.
But that was the original instigator of the Tree of Life, and that came from a tribe out in Sweden who went from being a very misogynist tribe to actually having priestesses within one generation. And from there, that influence spread right across. It was a fascinating story, actually.
It's wonderful.
But
I often say, as an ex-Catholic, I'm obviously a spiritualist now, but there were female popes, and priests could get married until greed came in from the Vatican saying, no, when you die, we want your land, because they were sharing it out between their families, and like you would do. So that's when the 13th century, was it 12th, 13th century, they were forbidden to marry. Greed.
And that is they say money is the root of all evil, and how true is that in many of the Orthodox religions and political parties. As we're seeing currently in the UK, it's just what is going on. But anyway, we will move on. Otherwise, we'll start a riot.
Let's not be pointing fingers, except to ourselves.
Well, that is a lovely point, because that's something I learned quite a few years ago now, and bringing things back to self. And you know what? That is such an interesting thing to do. When it's so easy, isn't it? Oh, she said that, they did that, he did that. And you actually got to say, well, what are these people bringing to me? What lesson are they bringing to me? And are they mirroring? And I've seen this many a time where somebody falls out with somebody else, and you're like, it's a mirroring thing, because everything you're saying about them is actually your quality.
It is interesting. But that also comes with maturity as well. And I bet you're the same as myself, that we stand alone. I'm the lone wolf. I was always, anytime I tried to get into a group, I didn't quite fit. I was there and thereabouts, but we're the lone wolves. We keep pushing ahead. Not that I disregard other people's opinions. Absolutely, they're important. But if it doesn't feel right to you, it isn't right. And it's as simple as that. Yeah,
exactly. And I think we all have different levels of maturity. I do remember at school, I was always on the reports of, oh, he's a loner, he doesn't. I couldn't stand the other kids because they would keep... Seriously. Go a
bit gentle there. Couldn't stand the other kids. I didn't blend well with the other children. Maybe soften it.
I had nothing in common with them. A quick hello to everybody, and hello, lovely Frederick from Sweden. Eva,
hey,
good evening.
Well, I can't see anyone that's on here, so
it's a bit of a rogue gallery.
Like I was saying, our maturity comes with maturity. There's nothing we can do about it. And a number of years back, I said, do I live by this all the time? No. Do I try to, when I remember? I'm not falling out with anyone, but if they want to fall out with me, that's their choice.
Yes.
So, if people want to backbite, well, come to me and do it, and we can hammer it out. But, I tend to, I was tended to be that person who, if I heard a story about myself, I'd go to the person and I'd say, did you say that? Let me correct it for you. But again, don't fall. It's just gossip is so cruel. It's so cruel.
It is.
That's what it is. Yeah.
It is, and it's always very. Oh God.
I know, you and I both.
It's always very disheartening, isn't it? Because within our movement, one of the noticeable things, and it's not in every church or centre, but there is a sort of like a funny saying going around: if you want to meet an unspiritual person, go to your local spiritualist church.
I know, it's
Because
terrible, isn't it?
it's when this way of life, this understanding, this knowledge. I'm not going to call it religion or anything else because that's depersonalizing it. I have had time and time and time again beautiful evidence of the continuity of life. So yeah, I know we go on. I'm going to exhale over here and inhale over there and go, oh, right, okay, where are we going? But with that comes responsibilities, doesn't it? And understanding. Oh, dear.
I know, I'm sorry.
We're going to have to get the Benylin out.
Yeah, no. We're all good. Nope. All good. I got it. If I drank whiskey, I would, but let's not. I don't.
I thought sherry was your tipple.
Oh, no.
No?
Why did you think that?
I saw you on another channel.
Oh, somebody said that. No, sherry.
Oh, right.
If there was nothing left to drink, I might.
Oh, fair enough.
Put it that way.
That was my mum's tipple. Schooner of sherry.
Yeah, that's an older lady. I suppose I am an older lady now, but no, it's not.
We're not older. We're mature, my darling. We're mature.
Yes, we're moving into our years.
Indeed.
But it is the maturity of people within the movement where, like we were saying, we're lone wolves. But we have our people too. We're part of a tribe. It's like, it's a lone wolf is part of a pack. It's part of that. But they all are able to go their own ways. But it come together for a collective purpose.
Yeah.
But if one of them decides to turn into a rabbit or a cat, well, okay, let's have a look at that and see how that will work here. And people don't want to change, or people want to change just to make an impact. I'm making an impact. Why make an impact on you? It's all about the self, isn't it? What is your purpose for doing that? Is that to make you feel better or somebody feel bad? You see, so if you're kind of saying, well, I'm better than you now and I'm going to become this, rather than saying I'm evolving and I feel this is a better path for me to pursue.
Yeah, very true. And I do like that mention there about lone wolf but still having the pack.
Correct,
because I found, especially in the post-COVID time, that I'm meeting people now, and we've got to be different people, haven't we? We're father, mother, sister, brother, friend, healer, whatever.
We have our roles.
Yeah, we're these people to those people. But we also need, and when we meet those people who we really resonate with them, and we touch on a soul level, and we can talk, it's just so liberating, the conversations that flow when you have those times.
Freedom.
Yeah, there's a couple in the room tonight who I would count on that list of just like, I can just sit and talk with them.
Yeah.
And I don't have to be anything else, just me.
I like that, yeah.
Yeah.
That's your tribe then, Laurie. That's your tribe, you see.
Oh, well, bad news, Frederick, you're in my tribe. So you have to get the tattoo done.
Laurie's tribe.
But this is all part and parcel, isn't it, about spiritualism? I've been very much on the crusade over here, not arrogantly, but, just trying to bring to people a greater understanding about spiritualism that is not all about the message, because many of our guests have agreed on the same thing, and feel free to disagree, that over the past 15, 20, 25 years, it's devolved. into an endless session of message services only. And, you know, any ancillary teaching or training in the main, in the general populace, I'm moving aside from the college and the Barbanel Centre, places like that, you know, is to make you a medium. It does irritate me when I keep seeing these adverts for open circle, come and practice your mediumship. Well, when I sat in an open circle, the circle leader, if I attempted any sort of mediumship, she used to come down on me on a ton of bricks. It was like, that is not what this is for. It's to develop you. And I got that. I really got that.
I'll agree with you, but only because I advertised the other day in Open Circle.
I'm sure it's run absolutely beautifully, Susan.
But
don't hang up on me, please.
In my circles, and students and anyone, you need to be your mediumship. You need to be part of that. But it's you know, this, I want to be this, I want, not my students. My students are fantastic if anyone's there, but everybody has to be this real quick. And again, I spoke to you about Vi Kipling, who was my first proper spiritual mentor. She sat in circle for 7 years, not allowed to say a word. So that teaches the discipline. And I suppose us oldies, I suppose, we remember that and we understand it. And when it all becomes quick and the depth of the understanding is not present. Yes, it's wonderful to get have a night of messages. Yes, it's lovely. But if you have 100 people there, only 10 or 12 people are going to get a message. You have a divine service, or you have something that involves prayer and philosophy. Everybody gets a message. It touches everybody. But, and there is a but, people who go to a service or go to a night of mediumship, or they don't know the difference. They don't know. They just want, so it is our fault. As the mediums or the people who want to share philosophy, it's our fault. And so what do we do? Lone wolf it again, Larry.
Indeed. One of the things that I do, probably to the point of the annoyance of many people, but tough, you can always turn me off, I don't mind, is I will use phrases like
Shirley shall.
No, not you. Evidential medium, philosophical medium, and to try to bring out more that understanding in people that mediumship is the state of being. What your mediumship operates in is something different. And to just to try
the vehicle. You're the vehicle.
Understanding. We have a question here from lovely Sue Townsend.
Oh, hi, Sue.
Hi, Susan. Do you feel philosophy could be better promoted in spiritualism and in ways which are more pertinent for the world today? Were you listening to our earlier conversation?
Absolutely. Because it's beautiful. If you really listened to proper, I want to do the rabbit ears thing, but if you really listen to somebody who's blending, as they do in their the mediumship blending for philosophy, it's beautiful. And it's going to be, and there's lovely prayers. Okay, there's lovely prayers, and bring the nice weather and save all the animals and this like that, but that person's not in it, because you can tell the difference, can't you, Laurie? You can tell the difference because the words are sharp but softer. The words, the meaning is deeper but understood by all. Do you see? So, but that is really, the teachings have failed us. But have they? No, because we know it. So what is happening? So Absolutely agree, Sue. It really is very pertinent to the needs in the world now, and prayer is so important. I love prayer because it's all about positivity. It's all about moving forward. It's all about progression and healing.
Yeah,
Sorry,
yeah,
catching
that's
me
all
breaths there. I'm talking too much. I won't be able to talk for a week. My husband to be delighted.
right. I'll send the invoice. Um, but it's true, and thank you, Sue, for bringing that up. That is really good. I love the philosophical side of the service. I just immerse myself in it, and also listening to people and the methods they use to deliver as well. Because we stream our services live for people to view at home only, we've got this huge library now of many speakers, and you can
Wonderful.
just pick up on just some of the little nuances they use, and you just think, God, yeah, that really works, because at the end of the day, all right, it is wonderful to provide that evidence. It is very uplifting, and I know when we do that message and that nugget comes out, and it's like he
That
shoots
gem, yes,
doors. That's
yes.
it. All that aside, our job in the churches and centres is to deliver hope to people coming in our doors. And, we have this miracle. Every message that is skillfully woven and brought about by that wonderful union between the two states of consciousness, each and every one is a miracle. What
Yes.
greater truth is there than we do not die, and all that that entails? And through that state of being as well, like Susan says there, more pertinent for the world today. Indeed, I
Yeah,
always think,
the world moves on.
yeah,
But do you know the other thing that was said to me was that the audience. Oh, sorry, I was just getting my brain fell out there. I had to bring it back in. That's the flu brain again.
yeah,
So, the congregation felt they were being preached at,
yeah,
as opposed to this is how hope can be. This is
yeah,
how this is what we can aim for. This is what we can pray for. Not you're a terrible person that you didn't do that.
yeah.
So and
And if
I
you
think
don't
that
do
was
this,
another failure. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, and that's very interesting. You can see our church behind me, and I've got the lectern up today for the medium on Sunday. When I work now, I found myself not wanting lecterns in the way. I found myself not what I want to be talking with the congregation. I don't want any physical barriers
Separation.
around
Yeah.
me. Because we are all being prompted. There is so much need, and we all, through our various states of mediumship, are being helped and prompted by spirit, to work differently, to reach out in other ways, to be more open and supportive of each other, because that's what we want, isn't it? We can't have this us and them. Oh,
Yeah.
well, I'm a medium, so my guides are higher than your guides, because I've heard that.
Yeah, no. I don't go for any of that. We're
Yeah,
all equal. We've different experiences. We're all equal, and some people are better at some things than others.
yeah,
Doesn't make them better than you,
yeah,
and if it's something that you want to aspire to, well, go find out how they got there and work it rather than try strip it from people.
yeah. I'm a good cook and a lousy housekeeper. It's fine.
Oh,
Absolutely fine.
thank you for sharing.
That's okay.
Sorry. Do you want me to tell you something now? I'm just blooming brilliant at everything.
Well, of course you are, my
Do you
darling.
think I
I
go?
wouldn't expect.
You think I'm going to say online what I'm not great at? I suppose. But you see, that's okay. But that's okay. Like I'm a really good psychic. I can tell you that. But can I
Yeah,
read tea? Can I read tea leaves? No,
no,
just no. Read
yeah,
anything else? Just no. So you see, doesn't stop you or prevent you or me from being who I am. I just acknowledge, well, doesn't work for me, but all the other stuff does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree 100%. And I think, again, another side effect of the pandemic and being locked away is our psychic senses opened up more, because we spent a lot more time going inwards in reflection on how we were living our life, you know, and you've seen this exodus out of the cities now, because people are just going, actually, you know, I was just doing this because that's what everybody did, and now I can work in the middle of the countryside, so
Yeah. Yes.
but I
But
found
something big had to come to change it, which it did.
Yeah.
You know, because that was a generational thing. You know, and it's something. It's a big thing to change generational habits.
Yeah.
So yeah, is it a good thing? Absolutely not. The pandemic, absolutely not. But has good things come of it? Yes, it has.
Well, wherever our adversities lies, that's where we can find our strengths. Because otherwise, we're not going to find those strengths. So again, like you, I do not condone. I'm not saying, hey, bring on another pandemic by any means. It was an awful, terrible time. The repercussions are going to go on for generations. So many people lost to it. So absolutely awful. However, in that darkness, our lights started to shine that little bit brighter.
Yeah. People did living reviews of their life. So they were given that opportunity. Again, it would have been nicer if something nice had happened to bring it around. But we were forced to really review. Yeah.
Something I noticed in between the two lockdowns we had in Britain here, where people were going out more, and I've never seen so many people holding hands, and that was really noticeable. And I just thought that is very interesting. That's a very interesting manifestation there. You know, because that value. What would I do if I was suddenly on my own, or what would they do if they were suddenly on their own and I was no longer here? So it really, you know, it brought out a lot.
The value.
And we talk about generations, brings in Julie Caswell. What do you think the generation before us think of our generation and how we do spiritualism, and indeed the generation before them? Have you got a cold as well, Julie, or are you just on the stout tonight or something? I think
no, I get it. I get it. I do get it. I'm Irish. I see things. Our language is backwards. We go backwards. So really what Julie is asking are really great questions about the so our father's, mother's generation, the spiritualists. What are they thinking of us here? And so back when spiritualism became a real thing, you know, what are they thinking of us now? The fast life, but life has got fast. We have cars, we have lights. We don't sit in circles, you know, by the embers of a fire, although this is what we try to do with the red light. People don't have the time to commit the way they did back in 100, 150 years ago. And there are people who commit as much as they can. So I would say those from previous times would be saying it's hard for you. It's hard for you to really maintain honesty and decorum and the truth. And it's hard. We can't sacrifice. I mean, for goodness sake, lads, look at the prices of our heating and warming our houses and turning on lights. We can't say, well, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to sacrifice that so as I could sit for 10 hours a day. So I believe it's recognized because spirit people are progressive. They are progressive. So on returning to spirit world, they would have understood. They set it straight for us. They set it up for us, but we have progressed within it. Have some people remained in the old way, the old traditions? Yes, they have, because they're not bad. They're not terrible. but we need to soften it and make it more malleable for today's world.
Yeah.
Does that answer that question, do you think?
It does very well, because I'm a big believer, we tend to think of it from our point of view, and when we hear about, I was watching a Gordon Higginson video the other night, and he was saying about sitting every day for at least an hour and things like that. Like you say, in those days, people could. And spirit understand that. And this is the bit that we often tend to leave out. Spirit is intelligence, and they understood we sat for an hour, so they'd sit for an hour with us. In today's world, that might be only 10 minutes. And do you know what? They're going to go, okay, you've only got 10 minutes. That's fine. We're still going to do the same work with you.
Yeah.
We're still going to bring the same to you, the same abilities or possibilities or opportunities to you, because we don't have time. Your time is linear, and therefore, if you're showing that devotion, if you've only got 1 hour a day totally spare, and you're devoting that to half of that to spirit are going to recognize and acknowledge it. So
and they don't want us falling ill. Funny enough, both of us have flu tonight, but they don't want us falling ill. They want us to remain as healthy as we can in the human sense, and so we can continue the good work. So
indeed.
Good question, Julie.
Yeah, thank you, Julie. Daniela, and she's asking, how can spiritualism be spread amongst young people in Ireland? How is religion in general being perceived nowadays there? And do you think Ireland has potential for spiritualist expansion?
Wow, that's I don't know if I'll answer all those questions as honestly as I possibly would, but okay, how can spiritualism, you see, life has changed here for young people. Life has changed, and the pandemic hit us all, but particularly the young people. How did you find spiritualism? How did I find spiritualism? We looked for the more. We knew there was something more. I wasn't brought up with spiritual. I'm a Catholic, ex-Catholic, so I wasn't brought up with that, but I went looking for it because the soul told me. So I think I'm kind of, because I know what I want to say and I'm not going to say it, but religion is important. Yeah. It is important because it gives you faith. It gives you something to hold on to in those times of need. If it's overzealous, well, then it's an issue. If it's underzealous, well, then it's an issue. It needs to be that balanced space. So how it can be spread amongst young people in Ireland is how deep, how far will that stone fall when I throw it in the river? Yet there's a ripple. The stone drops, but the ripple is there. Do you see? Correct. So Ireland has potential for spiritualist expansion. Yes, it does. But we Irish are no fools. I'll say that to you. We are no fools. And we like what we like, and we know what we know. Yeah. So don't be teaching your granny to suck eggs. That's what I would say. Do I like to be given direction? Absolutely. Do I like to be told what to do? Yeah, if I need to. Do I like being told what to do again and again and again and again and again? No. So there's certain things because, and I will say this, Ireland is a spiritual country anyway. It's not a spiritualist country. Yeah. It is we spoke about the Celtic and all of that earlier. It's really has a lot to give the world, those Celtic regions, because it goes so deep, so ancient. It has potential, but it can't be this. It can't be this. Yeah. I'm trying not to say the word British, and I know Daniela's not
No,
British herself, but it's difficult, because it is seen as a British organization, and I know that they are beginning to want to bring changes, because Jackie and some other person is having a meeting online for people to discuss how they can best support non-UK spiritualists.
yeah,
Unfortunately, I can't be there that night because I'm working, but that's really good, because it needs to be recognized that we're worldwide, and what happens is when you're left out in the cold, you find a way to warm yourself up, don't you? Well, they're not going to give me the coal. I'm going to buy it, and I'm going to get it from these people over there. And yeah, that seems like a good idea. So it just spreads out. It becomes, people find their way organically, I suppose.
they do. They do.
Mm.
Yeah, beautifully answered there. I've met Daniela on a few occasions here, and this question, how can spiritualism be spread amongst young people in Ireland? Actually, the generic version is, and this is the battle cry that I heard when I came into spiritualism at 13, which was only 21 years ago.
Good for you. Good for you.
About we've got to get youngsters into our churches. Well,
Correct.
number one, it invokes this thing. You've been involved with centres and churches. The minute you change anything, it's like civil disobedience suddenly occurs because you've had the temerity to put something modern in. But also going down onto a deeper level is, and when I use this word, I don't mean it in any negative way. The arrogance of saying, how do we get people into our churches? Why are we not saying, how do we get our churches out to people? Which brings in a totally different energy. And as I say, when I use that word arrogance, it's not a negative, because it is, how we've got to get them into our churches. Well, actually, why don't we go out into the community more? Why don't we have a meeting in a coffee shop, which is an idea and something that the lovely Jack Eckhart out in Denmark was doing with his association. They were having regular meetings in the chain coffee shops, and people want to know about spiritualism. And you came down and your Costa sat there in a group and discussed it. And I thought, oh my God, that's something we have really missed, because it is this, we build this barrier to ourselves. We've got to get them into our church. So we've already sort of like narrowed down how we're going to operate. I've got to get that person in the door. Well, actually, what we're trying to do, we're trying to share this beautiful knowledge and go out there. And so, the farmer doesn't sit in the lounge sowing his seeds. He goes out in the field and does it.
Mm-hmm.
So,
true.
Yeah.
And you can even see, I have to. Well, that's a pressure. Nobody has to do anything. Why are the churches not more welcoming to those who are not members of the church, young, old, or halfway there? Because it's so cliquey. And you see, I get it. I understand it, because I have a group of friends. They're my buddies. They're my friends. It's funny. None of my really good buddies are spiritualists or anything of that type. Nothing like that at all. So, which is interesting, because, and I've known them years. I've known them all my life, some of them. So they tell me what's right and what's wrong. Do we talk about spiritual matters? Yeah, but not as a religion. As God, that's a terrible thing, and how could we help and stuff like that, not as a religion. So I it's just like I said, we like being told what to do and where to go if we're confused. But if we're told over and over and over when we're no longer confused, it gets annoying. Do you see?
Yeah. And that is something I've noticed within our movement. We have a tendency to confine our activities to everything is about the message. So you'll have 2 or 3 message services a week, every week. People coming into the church for any sort of development is immediately either you're going to be a platform medium or you're going to be a
Oh,
healer.
yeah.
You know, and we've just bought these
Categorize people without knowing them. Yeah.
Exactly. And we've limited the rate. You know, I am so fortunate. I've got a beautiful church here, and I've got some amazing people in the church. And most of them, not even, I wouldn't say they haven't got the ability to be an evidential medium. They don't want to be an evidential medium, but they're really happy in doing what they do.
Exactly.
And it is
Because
about helping.
that's how they assist their church, or they fulfill their faith.
Yeah. And this is, you know, somewhere where the churches can encourage and engage more with people and just open the, you know, to me, a good teacher opens the door. He doesn't push you through it. Good teacher just opens the door. Yeah. And go, you know, whatever you're going to do.
And should be confident enough that when the student surpasses them, they can be proud of a job well done.
Yeah.
Rather than keeping students down. And we've both seen that. We've both seen it. No, don't do that. Let them rise. Yeah. Everyone's different abilities, different opinions, different ideas, different energy. Yeah.
Yeah, and we're all connected in no matter, you know, all shapes and forms. We are all connected. And if one rises, we all rise with them.
Am I beginning to glisten? Am I? My temperature. Oh,
you're lovely, darling. Daniela back again. In the UK, there has been an expansion in New Age shops. Has that been the case in Ireland? And then goes on to say perhaps that might be an indication of a shift, perhaps, for the young people.
There was always New Age shops here in Ireland, ones that we would know of. And, you know, we have tombs and we have places to go. We've holy relics and we've all of that kind of thing. And is it a way to go? Is it a way of introducing people? I suppose it is a way. Because that's all about energy, those holistic shops, aren't they? They're all about this is how energy could work for you. Crystals don't stay with me. They never want to be in my company for too long. So they keep moving. I woke up one night. I had my friend makes crystal jewelry and I had an amethyst necklace on. I woke up choking.
Yeah,
I had to take it off. Yeah. Another time I was at a really fancy dinner and it just fell off my neck onto a wooden floor, and I go, well, I ain't doing that no more. I'm not wearing them anymore. They don't want me. I don't want them either.
Fair enough. Yeah, that's fair enough.
But again, they're lovely and they're pretty and they do have a space and they do have a role to fulfill, but it's not within mine.
Yeah. Exactly. And goes very much back to what we were just saying there. We are all different. There is a big explosion in the New Age market, which is, that's great. Get people thinking out of the box. The thing that sometimes I get a little bit disappointed in is that people leave the divinity of things out. You know, I've got this crystal and this is the thing that gives me the power, and through this crystal I can do that. Yeah, all right, what about going a bit deeper with that? Where's that crystal come from? What is this energy? I get drawn very much now to the metaphysics side with things, where we're talking about energy, so we cut the emotional cords to what we talk about, and that can be quite interesting. Understanding things you'd say about your crystals. I'm very much with colour, and the first and only time I wore a red tie on platform, after about 2 seconds, I felt like I was handed Jack the Ripper around my throat. I was like, oh my God, get this off. And I thought, red tie.
Yeah,
red tie over me, you know, throat chakra.
So don't do that again, you know. And I did, and I mean, I love crystals, and I don't have the big knowledge about all of them, but I have knowledge. I have the crystal diaries and all, or dictionaries, but it's just, there's so many facets, there's so many parts of this holistic journey that each of them are as important, because to somebody else, crystals are how they connect with respect to the divine. because we are all of the divine. We're all
Yeah.
of that. Wasn't it Mavis Patilla? Bless her, she's my mentor too. Droplets of God. I loved that one. She's just like droplets of God. That's what they give
Yeah.
to us. That's what we are. So, and the reverence. And look, I enjoy a good laugh. You enjoy a good laugh. It doesn't mean we're disrespectful.
Not
It
at all.
does not mean. It means we are highly respectful, but we're also wanting to live our life as we are. Do
Yeah.
you see? So,
Yeah.
yeah. So it's interesting when I speak about God, which I believe in. And is it a Buddhist God, a Hindu God, a Catholic God? No, it's God.
Yeah.
It's just God.
Yeah.
And whatever, when people used to say, well, he found Jesus or she found Jesus and all of that, they found themselves. That's what they found. They found themselves. And in that space of divinity and respect grows.
Yeah. I'd say to Pete, you want to find God, go and look in the mirror.
But not today. Not today, folks. God doesn't have the flu.
Oh dear. Sue Townsend, do you feel that there is more of a need to encourage people to go within themselves for the answer to their questions, especially as society encourages many to seek externally and often to chase after distractions which pull them away from an understanding of who they truly are?
Okay, that's an interesting question, isn't it? Because I would say sometimes it's good to pull people away from something because they need to be distracted. But if the issue is they have no understanding of themselves within their life, is it a life purpose? Our purpose changes. So, within that space. So if I'm having a bad day and my friend says, come on, do you want to come for a drink? And I said, you know what, I'd love that, because I know in that space of community, in that social space, we will talk. But also maybe not. It's distracting me from this thing that was in my head.
Yeah.
So I actually feel it works on both ways, Sue. If people are never permitted or never invited to review themselves, well then that's an issue, isn't it?
Yeah. And again, well, we go back into the spiritual law of balance, isn't it? Yes, it is good to go within, but that has got to be balanced with the external distractions. You can work 24/7 like we've done for the last couple of weeks, and here we are both suffering because of that.
Suffering. Won't happen again.
We should have got distracted. We should have gone for that coffee. We should have had that muffin.
Yes. Oh, no muffins, thanks. Coffee,
no
yes.
muffin. Okay.
No, thanks.
Keith Morn, what barriers have you faced as a medium? In Ireland, is it more acceptable to keep mediumship secular rather than linked to Christianity?
Right, okay, let me get a full understanding of this, because I am now, I am 59, right?
So way over 38, darling.
Yes, thank you very much. You're such a barefaced liar, but thank you for trying. Anyway, so years ago, Keith, I would have had aggression towards me. I was crazy, you're mad, you're all of this. But because I kept with it, my belief did not falter. My belief in myself at times faltered, I'll be honest with you, but my belief, my faith did not falter. People said there must be something in this. So when I'm looking at the second part of the question, is it more acceptable to keep medium secular rather than linked to Christianity? Because it is linked. It is linked to the Christ, to the God. This is where I'm worrying that the God is everybody's God. It's not just a Buddhist or Hindu, and Jesus is part of that God, and Christ is part of that God. So I mention God. If people are afraid of that, well, then that would start a lovely conversation. It might not do anything, but I'm okay with mentioning God, but God is, what is this I read a while ago? Some people don't want to believe in God, in a God, or in God, but really it's just 1 0 short of good. I believe in good. How about saying that instead? I
Yeah,
believe in good. Yeah.
yeah. That is beautiful, beautiful answer.
Does that I'm just wondering, does that answer it though?
I think it does answer it very well. It's about standing in your own power, your own understanding. And also, sometimes we tend to falter because we're looking for other people's validation. So, in that context, what Keith was saying there about, oh, I better not say I'm a Christian because people will get upset. Well, number one, we've assumed that people will get upset. And number two, we're sort of like selling ourselves short to keep other people happy. I've said to people, do you know what, love? I've been here 60 years now, and up until now, and probably going on for the next 10 years, I don't need your validation because I know where I am. I'm open to debate on it, and I'm open that tomorrow I will be somewhere else. But I'm quite confident in that, and the same as you. Yes, I talk in God. And I've said to people, I don't care if you think the universe is run by a giant green tree frog. The most important thing is that you have something to believe in.
Yeah. Yeah.
You need a belief. You need a faith structure.
Faith brings hope, you see. When you
Indeed.
have that faith in good. When you have faith in good, when you place hope in good, it's an energy that's worth progressing with.
Yeah. And if you can look at your life and just think, do you know what? Okay, there are times I could probably do a little bit better, but generally I'm benefiting other people around me. And that's a good life.
I tell you, anyone who has had a perfect life is fibbing. They are lying. We are not on this earth to have a perfect life. We are here to have some expression of perfection, but perfection, as I say to everyone, only exists in memory and nature. Oh, good, Keith. Thank you. Yeah.
And reaching those goals is what this life is about, because we're here for the journey. And this is a very favourite topic of mine. People want the answer. Well, if there's a God, prove it. Well, no, actually, it's not up to me to prove to you there's a God. It's up to yourself to prove there is or there isn't. And that decision will only come about as a process of you journeying, reading, understanding, going wherever.
Yeah.
But it's the journey that teaches you. Because if you say to you, "Oh, prove to me there is God," well, there is a God because I've seen him.
It's like round. It's like, and this has been said to me. Read that book and tell me is it any good. I'd read it and I'd say, well, I didn't like it, and somebody told me that would be good. Well, maybe you'd like it if you read it. It wasn't my book to read. Do you see? So do you see what I mean? Read that book and tell me what it's like. No, read for yourself, lazy git. Oops.
That's all right. We've had worse, seriously.
Oh, good.
Absolutely loving this conversation. And again, thank you. I know you're feeling the same as I am tonight, and it's just a bit of hard work. And apologies.
I know we're a bit. We're a bit under the weather. Just as well, I suppose we could have gone. We could have gone a completely different direction there.
Going forward a bit with our movement, there is quite a lot of negativity about the different organizations within our movement and different approaches. There is sort of like this underlying trend of, oh, well, if we don't motivate spirit, if we don't do this with spiritualism, it's going to die. My answer to that is, well, you're the one that needs to motivate it then, aren't you? You're given that foresight, that insight to the issues, so get off your bum and do something about it. How do you feel going forward for probably about the next 5 years within our I'm going to tap into your
my
Celtic
5-year plan.
saying.
You might, I manager wanting my 5-year plan now. Well,
Yeah,
really, my joy is teaching, right? My joy is teaching. My joy is philosophy. And now I can tell you, when I was told that maybe 30 years ago, now 20 years ago, Jesus, I'm aging myself terrible. I can't remember, but ages ago. And I think it was Vi Kipling and our sister Doris Smith said, you will be standing up delivering philosophy. No, I won't. No, they also said I'd be a trans medium, a physical trans medium, which I could become, which is fine. I do get that. But the stages in our life, because I was very shy, I was very uncertain, I was still picking other people's barbs out of my brain and my energy. And so I had to grow up and learn, well, some of those barbs are going to stay, but I can live with them. But the ones that I don't, I'm going to have to painfully remove. So can we do what we choose to do? Yes, absolutely. Are you bothered enough to try? That's what I would say. Are you bothered enough to try? So all these things that I do now that my lovely mentors, original mentors predicted, you can't predict, but suggested, has come about. So a bit like they must have been like, I must see, did they write a book like Nostradamus? So go and check that one out.
Yeah. But yeah, I sorry.
Say that again.
Sorry, we broke up there a little bit. We have this thing, don't we? We talk about the greats of the past. We go back to the Gordon Higginson era and all those great mediums of there. But it is very pertinent and very important that we look to the greats that we've got working today.
Absolutely.
And even in this short hour, I will definitely include you amongst that, not just a flattery or anything like that, because you've got this passion. You know, you've got passion, you've got common sense, you're grounded, you know where you're going, you're open to different thoughts and evolving. And that is so important. That is just so important. And I think in this day and age, in this digital revolution now that we're doing, it's not only opened up the doors.
Absolutely.
I mean, we were very much of an area, you know, and pre-COVID, we were very much of Dorset, and that was it. All our speakers, all our demonstrators, all came from this small area. And suddenly we are opening up, and we're here in Poole, we're having visitors from all over the UK and abroad.
Wonderful.
And you know what? You're just seeing marvelous deliveries of philosophy, of prayer, of intent, of evidential mediumship. And you just think, you know, okay, the past had their generation of mediums, which is great. And, you know, a lot to learn from them. But equally today, there are some fantastic people out there promoting spiritualism to people. And we'll talk to those who have an ear to hear. Yeah. My darling.
Absolutely. And I'm not looking for anything specific from it other than this is my opinion, if you'd like to hear it.
Yeah.
We're breaking up there, are we? Okay, sorry, I interrupted you. Go ahead.
No, don't worry. Yes, absolutely. I'm going to call time because I don't know about you, but I'm definitely flagging you.
Oh, I'm definitely flagging. I'm just holding myself up here now, folks.
I know. I've gone to about 110 degrees. I
think my stomach wants to come and say hello.
Oh, hello.
Let's not do that in public.
No, let's not. We've got a healthy tip here. Jack Daniels, honey, lemon and turmeric.
Oh, well, turmeric, honey, lemon, yes. Not Jack Daniels. I don't like it. I'm not a whiskey or Jack Daniels. If I actually don't really like the taste of alcohol too much, and so but I've discovered if you drink really high quality vodka, it tastes nice, and if you Coors Light cold, and any beer cold, but once it's Coors Light, that's it. I'm I'm a creature of habit. I'm that way.
I've got a bottle of something that the lovely Jack left with me from Denmark, Gamel Dance. Do
Oh,
you ever remember in the bars, they used to have these little bottles called Underberg, and they were wrapped in brown paper. I don't know if you had them over there. And they were like a
no.
pick-me-up. They were a herb basing. Well, I've got a
Oh,
leaf.
oh yeah, they're very good for you actually. It's where all these what is that small bottle that everybody, all those kids, like they drop it into Red Bull. What is that? I can't remember, but brains
Oh,
here.
yeah.
That's one of them as well. And there's all other things, but yeah, that particular one is really good for not the one similar to it we got in Germany, very good for heartburn. And yes, Kate, Jägermeister. Yeah.
All the alkies are coming out now in the comments here.
Well, it's actually very good for the digestion, you see. That's what that is. That's why those little shots and things are supposed to aid your digestion, not
Yeah.
get you drunk. Yeah.
Well, I got this Gamel Dance Scout the other night. I had 2 of them, and I never slept so well. It's lovely.
Oh,
Anyway.
wow. Okay, good. All right. I think we shouldn't be ending our spiritual conversation, although it's a different kind of spirit, isn't it?
Exactly,
Yeah,
exactly,
yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
Susan,
Okay.
I have loved every minute of
Great.
talking to you.
Great.
Absolutely. As I said, I love, the wonderful thing on these discussions is when we get the passion come out in people.
Oh, thank
Because
you.
that really that just shines. And yes, as a teacher, I would love to have you as a teacher and a mentor, because I know you just would be honest
Well,
with us,
yes.
which is
Yes.
something we need in our teaching.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not just stand there and say, "Oh, you're lovely," and walking away thinking, "Oh my god."
No, I would yes. It
Yeah,
depends. It depends, of course, on the circumstances and all that. But yes, I'm honest.
yeah, no, absolutely brilliant. Thank you
Oh,
so
you're
much.
welcome. Thank you for inviting me.
Absolute pleasure. Thank you, everybody, for joining us tonight. Hope you've enjoyed tonight. Keep an eye open for who will be our next guests. In the meantime, Susan and I are going to grab hot water bottles and
Yes.
try and
Cry
sweat
in
this
bed.
horrible thing out.
No, we'd be grand. We'd be grand.
Everybody, have a wonderful night, a wonderful weekend. Don't forget, live here at the church on Sunday morning, our divine service is taken by Darren Orlowski. Doors open 10:15 with healing available beforehand, which is also streamed live for you wonderful people wherever you are in the world to watch our service. Have a beautiful, blessed night. Look after yourselves. Stay safe, stay sane, and God bless.
Bye-bye.